A misty mountain morning over Llangollen. What a change from yesterday, which is absolutely glorious day. But as we're cruising on, obviously, it'll be a dampish day today. I've been going an hour and we're at that little slowy bit with a little passy bit. I waited just by the bridge to come in because Charlotte had said there's a boat coming. So I'm just waiting there, boat's not moving. A woman comes around and says, "You can't go through, it's only narrow." Yeah, okay. She said, "You'll have to wait here." So I looked down at the boat that wasn't moving and then looked at her and then looked down at the boat that wasn't moving, and she said, "You'll have to wait there." I said, what do you think I'm doing, love? She said, "But it's too narrow, you can't pass another boat." Okay. So then I'm thinking perhaps it's some idiot hirer or something. You know what? It wasn't. So, what do you do in that sort of situation when the boat's not moving? I don't know. So she said, "There's nothing behind once we come through." I said, "Well, I don't know that though, do I? Because you don't know in the time it's taking you to come through whether there's something been behind you." She said, and this is where she said again, "It's not wide enough to pass another boat, you'll have to wait here." I said, "Well, I've got someone who's gone on ahead, thanks love, but you know, thanks for the advice, you have a nice day now, won't you?" And you know what her parting comment was? "You'll have to wait here until we've come through." What? Oh dear. Yeah. An observation, I think, an observation worth making on the Llangollen Canal is when it comes to difficult boaters, hire boats aren't the problem. They really aren't. Be nice when it's finished. Bryn Howell Hotel and Restaurant. I wonder if they make their own burgers. It's going to be one of those triple cooked chips, isn't it? Anyway, worth looking up on Google, see who Bryn Howell is. Be one of those Master Chef. Might not be. Oh, that's rather jolly, isn't it? Even with low clouds. We are back at my least favourite part of the waterway system. I've got a little camera out there pointing down, a GoPro up at the front, and I'm going to sit down there because I don't like this. It's very high. It's very, very high, and thankfully, look, there's a boat down there, so we don't have to check to see whether or not we got a clear run. 150 foot high, no problem whatsoever. I'm just going to let it just take itself through. Oh God, I think I've done this before coming t'other way, haven't I? I don't like this. Right, well, If you actually have a look at the video of the side, there are some missing bits of the yes. Oh fucking hell. Right, I'm gonna sit down now because I don't like this. See you up to the side, boys and girls. Let's see how that camera did. Fucking hell. That's a long way down. Oh. So ducks use duck houses then. It's actually a much larger marina than it looks, because it goes, slow down a bit, goes all the way back there. If I remember, I'll get one of those Google overhead shot things, but it is quite a large. I think there's about three hire companies operate out of there as well. I wonder if it really is closed, or whether someone's written on there out of spite. And if it is closed, I wonder if that was a COVID thing. It wouldn't surprise me. When you've got an area predominantly dependent upon the tourism industry, something like COVID is a bit like terminal cancer. Chirk Tunnel, it looks like there's at least two coming out. Well, there's one just come out. It looks like there's one behind. Hopefully just the one behind. Difficult to tell from here. Yeah, it looks like there's only, oh, I don't know. Looks like only one behind, unless there's one behind that hasn't got a light on. No, I think there's only one. Right, goody. Today is definitely the busiest day we've had on the Llangollen Canal. Crikey, right busy, so it is. and back on Chirk Aqueduct, which isn't half as scary because there's no sort of like massive drop this side. Well, there is, but it's not half-inch thick. If that's still an active railway line, I'm guessing it probably is. I think this is probably my favourite part of the Llangollen Canal. Now, I don't actually believe that. I'm choosing to believe that we're still in Wales because Mr. Google on Google Maps says the border is quite some way off, and as I said before, it might be because we just crisscross it several times. Now, this is a very kind lady who, when we was walking along, I said, do you know where there's a fish and chip shop? She said not nearby, but I will I'll drive you there if you want when I finish my dog training course. How lovely is that? So I mentioned that before, but anyone knows her, please go give her a big hug and a kiss from me, because what a lovely thing to do. So this is just after the Chirk Aqueduct. This is the abandoned house that we went to explore. It was sold at auction. But what you can't see is from there, boom, it's straight down to where the trap is, the pub, the bridge, and all of the concrete standing by the entrance to it is cracked up, which looks like subsidence. Not surprising if you look. It's right on the corner of where that all then disappears down. Someone's bought it at auction, not sure why or what they intend to do with it. It's something that I suspect will be quite costly to secure on the side of Ill. It would be fairly unkind of me to film the little girl at the helm of that, so I'll do it from a distance, but she's bounced into there, and now maybe the other side. I mean, that's okay. It's a bit scary when they're coming toward you. But, and she just dragged herself for a tree as well. But everyone's got to learn, haven't they? Look at this sunshine. In case I hadn't mentioned it before. Sunshine. Oh, and canoeists down there somewhere. They might just be jumping out. Whoops, excuse me. I think they're jumping out before the lock. Yeah, pulling themselves off before the lock. But it means I can just drift along here merrily, tick over. There's another boat coming down through. I think there's about 3 or 4 actually to come down. They stopped off for water, so we shot through. We don't need, and we do need to fill up with water, but it's not a pressing need to fill up with water. Yeah, we're not desperate, but it would be nice to get that out of the way today, and then fill up again perhaps when we get to Middlewich. I'm hoping, and I don't see why not, that we can do Middlewich in a couple of days. A couple of really long days, slow, long days. I get to Middlewich for Wednesday, possibly Thursday. And we've got to work out what we're going to call this sack of malt. I think, in recognition of Pete Brown's remarkable adventure taking a keg of IPA to India. His first one was called Barry, and if I say the first one, I don't want to go any further than that. Obviously, spoilers, etc. But I think we ought to call this sack of extra pale malt Barry. So hopefully we'll be collecting Barry from Middlewich. One observation, and I'm not actually sure whether it was an owner or a hirer. At the last lock there was a boat waiting to come up and 2 waiting to go down, and none of them helped Charlotte do the lock. That's lovely, isn't it? So normally after closing those gates she'd start filling that lock for the boat behind, but I think now she's saying fuck you. Why should I help you if you couldn't be asked to help me? Which is quite right as well. I don't know whether, if it's an owner in one of those boats, then they would know that it's a sort of, it's a nice thing to do to help other boaters with locks, especially if, like Charlotte's doing it on her own. Hire boats might not necessarily know that, but they should pick it up quite quickly. But anyway, she's just said fuck you. You can do the lock yourself. I'm not going to bother starting to fill it for you. Quite right as well. I've got my boobs out, by the way. Bit too much information, but with that bright sunshine like that, oh yes indeed. It feels lovely, so it does. Lick of paint and some WD-40, be fine. This looks like it could turn into one of those long days. It's 6:30, is it? Nearly. So we set off at 9:30ish, so that's 9 hours. Oh, doesn't feel it though. It's amazing. A little bit of sunshine makes it more doable. It's when it's just drizzling with rain and miserable and overcast, it's just not a lot of fun. But I can do this for another hour. What a lovely evening. Try and moor up somewhere where we get a decent signal, because I've got some documents to upload. The eagle-eyed amongst you might notice quite a few wasps. We was just about to moor up. A chap come up and said someone's reported a wasp's nest around here. He weren't fucking wrong. So we're not mooring there. We're going to push on for a bit, but that's okay. It's a nice evening. Well, look at that. We've got a day out. We've managed to get to Ellesmere. So this morning, 9:30, we set off from Llangollen Wharf, or Llangollen Marina, and about 7 o'clock tonight. So a fair old chunk of day, but it's been a nice day. We've arrived at Ellesmere, so that'll do me. So that saved us a day, because before we left here and went up to Chirk, and then we went down into Llangollen. So we're reasonably back on track for being back to somewhere on the Leeds-Liverpool by the end of the week, or hopefully near the Leeds-Liverpool by the end of the week. Until next time, from Ellesmere, whatever you're doing, do it safely. Have one for us. Cheers.